2023 was an incredible year for games, one of the greats. And even now, after the year has ended, there's still plenty of games from that year that I'm looking forward to playing, checking out, and some that I'm still playing. Without further ado, here are the top 10 games I played in 2023.
Number 10, F-Zero 99.
The first new F-Zero game in a long time, one of my favorite series. And while it's not the F-Zero GX remaster many hoped for, F-Zero 99 is something I never expected to be so wildly fun and frenetic. Even placing just within the top 10 is something special. Racing 98 other people at high speed is incredibly fun, and it's a racing experience that feels incredibly new. What other game lets you race that many people?
Number 9, Cocoon.
From one of the creators of some of my all-time favorite games, Limbo and Inside, comes another fantastic and unique experience with Cocoon. This game came out of nowhere. I just love how Cocoon has zero cutscenes, zero dialogue, no text boxes, and the gameplay and map is ingeniously laid out and guides you perfectly. It's also mind-bending in its own way, diving between dimensions. Cocoon was a perfect 3-hour experience, all played with an analog stick and a single button.
Number 8, Armored Core 6.
Armored Core 6 is an awesome action game and perfectly gamey, with quick levels, easy to learn controls, and not too much time spent in cutscenes or menus. The action also feels big and omega, with huge environments, epic proportions, big explosions, and fast white knuckle action. Beating those bosses with only a sliver of life left has never been so rewarding. What a beautifully, beautifully awesome action game.
Number 7, Super Mario RPG Remake.
Super Mario RPG on the Super Nintendo was the game that introduced me to what an RPG was. Yes, I played it back in the day, and just seeing the announcement trailer brought me a warm wave of nostalgia I only get to experience every few years. This game is a faithful remake, with a wonderfully redone orchestrated soundtrack, beautifully redone visuals, and getting to relive the experience reminded me of how hilarious and epic the story is. Long live Geno and Mallow.
Number 6, Super Mario Bros. Wonder.
Super Mario Bros. Wonder didn't necessarily blow me away, as it's a rather safe experience, but I did find myself absolutely 100%ing it, like fully 100%ing it. And that's something that I don't think I've done in the better part of a decade, so that's gotta be worth something. The game has a great art style, incredibly tight controls, and it's got some great new power-ups that all feel balanced appropriately. And it's an approachable game that I can and have played with friends and non-gamers. It's hard not to love this polished and vibrant new 2D Mario adventure.
Number 5, Dead Space Remake.
I love the first Dead Space, and this is the perfect remake, the absolute perfect remake. I just can't believe how good the graphics and sound design are. Maybe one of the best games from a visual perspective I've ever experienced. And the new gameplay sections, story updates, random enemy encounters, it all really makes this a perfect way to replay this classic horror experience. I really love the way the physics plays into this game. Many times during my playthrough, I was horrified and absolutely full of cosmic sci-fi existential dread. I won't hesitate to say this is Electronic Arts' best game ever.
Number 4, Pikmin 4.
I've been waiting for almost a decade for Pikmin 4, and it finally delivered. It's so chock full of content, I'm still playing it regularly, going for that 100%. It's such a pure Pikmin experience, and a love letter to the fans of the series with nods to Pikmin 1, 2, and 3. The opened up game structure, hub world, and the inclusion of Owachi the dog, and especially the new camera perspective, give this more than enough freshness to justify a sequel. Bring on Pikmin 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, Pikmin Online, Pikmin Battle Royale, and a Pikmin first-person shooter.
Number 3, Metroid Prime Remastered.
Metroid Prime is one of my favorite games of all time. When this remaster was announced and released at the same day, I screamed, and I've since beaten the game twice. This is an all-time ageless classic. It's one of the most immersive games ever, with a sense of sci-fi mysticism that is absolutely unmatched. With spiffed up graphics and new control options, this is a fantastic refresh, all at 60 frames per second. One of the all-time best games ever.
Number 2. Resident Evil 4 Remake.
Resident Evil 4 is also one of my favorite games of all time. I've beaten it nearly a dozen times across more than 5 different consoles. I even recently beat it handheld on Switch. I will admit I was nervous about this remake, and there were some issues at launch that have since been fixed. But otherwise, Capcom absolutely nailed it. There's a reason they call them Cap Gods. The pacing, presentation, music, campiness, bosses, the way you can take on each enemy encounter how you see fit. And it also, what a great ending theme song. Chef's kiss emoji. I love this remaster, and I'll be replaying it over and over in the decades to come.
Number 1. The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
Breath of the Wild is also one of my favorite games of all time, but I was a little tepid when the sequel was announced. How could they possibly top it? Well, goddammit, somehow they did. Where do I even begin? The incredible, seamless, and explorable sky, huge underworld with a different style of gameplay, new powers including a full ability to rewind anything, the ability to fuse any 2 weapons together, and build vehicles to your imagination's content, tons of new enemies, towns and NPCs, and quests with heart and depth, caves, bosses, some great dungeons, a controllable and customizable mech companion, and a pretty decent story all things considered, and an incredibly epic finale. I put over 100 hours into Tears of the Kingdom, and I never experienced a single glitch or moment of unjustified frustration. This isn't just an incredible game and world, but a game I honestly don't know how they managed to make and fit onto 16 gigabytes. It's pure magic. Tears of the Kingdom feels like its own place, like its own world. And I will admit that upon beating it, I did drop a tear. I was just really sad to leave this world. Just a jaw-dropping and unforgettable game, and proof that after 4 decades, Nintendo and the Zelda team are the kings and make the best video games on the planet.